Now, in episode 2 of Dan in his Van, I'm going to talk today about open mic nights and all of the advantages and disadvantages that they may entail. Now, just for safety point of view, here again is the key that starts my van. So it's just here on the passenger seat, so I can't drive and talk and look at the camera at the same time, which would be dangerous and illegal. So, open mic nights. I do 2 of these in my hometown, and they're going really well. Lots of people come, we all have a great time, and that's what music's about, really. Now, I do, however, charge the pubs that I play in, that I do the open mics, just a little bit for expenses, but really it's sort of piecemeal because I kind of want to do it. It's more of a community thing rather than, a profit-making thing. Now, a pub doesn't make really any money on beer. Very, very little. So really the profit margins are in things like wine, spirits, and if they do food, that can be very profitable as well. But, overheads are high in pubs, so it's a real balancing act. Now, the reason I say this is that some people would say, well, why don't you just get a band in and pay them rather than open mic and getting musicians to play for free? Well, yes, I can see that argument. I do see it. But we do charge the pub for the open mic night that we provide. Now, there are 3 types of people who come to open mic nights. You get people who just want to have a go, amateurs who just think, oh yeah, I can sing this song, oh, I'd love to do that, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so you get them. And it's a lot of fun. The kick that I get out of it is that if you've got somebody who is playing for the first time and they are literally in pieces before they play with the house band or they play solo guitar or whatever, and then at the end you can't get them off the stage, that is a proper sort of plus point of doing an open mic night, in that you can watch somebody break through the barrier onto the musical platform 9 3/4, where they just end up doing it again. And it's a great feeling to allow that to happen. Now, the second type of person you get are sort of semi-professionals, do a few pub gigs or maybe do a little bit of songwriting. They've done a few gigs in the past and just want to try a tune out with the pub. Great, fantastic. And they have a great time as well. Now, the third type of person you get at an open mic night is the professional musician. And this is where, in the past, it's been a little bit tricky, in that you have professional musicians turning up to open mic nights because they just want to watch. And maybe if they play, that's great. It's brilliant because it gives the first group that I mentioned, the amateur musicians and to a certain extent the semi-pro musicians, it gives them a good sort of boost and a good yardstick. And if you think that a professional musician is playing on the same bill as yourself if you've only just started, that can, you can go home and feel really good about yourself, feeling really good about the musical thing, the journey that you've just been through. Now, some people say, well, yes, but professional musicians, the word professional means you get paid. Well, yes, it does. That's fine. And you get people saying, well, why do you invite them? Surely you should be paying them. But the idea of an open mic night is community-based only. It's not about trying to make lots of money and trying to extract as much from the pub as you possibly can. Now, open mic nights have an advantage with a pub in that they can be extremely busy. And as I was saying just now, pubs don't make much on beer. They make money on wine and soft drinks. So, for example, if you have perhaps young people under the age of 18 playing open mic nights, parents come, they buy soft drinks for the children, mum might have a glass of wine. I hate to sound sort of stereotypical, and the dad will have a pint of beer. So already there's a profit that the pub can make from just a family coming to watch, their son or daughter take part in an open mic night. So it's very good for the pubs to do this. Then somebody will say, well, But you should have a professional band in. It's the circuit. Well, yes, it is the circuit. But I do my open mic nights on Thursday nights. And pubs usually would put a band on a Friday or Saturday night. So I purposefully keep open mic nights away from the weekends so that can happen, so they can have both in. And if a pub makes good money from an open mic night, if it's really packed and there are lots of people having glasses of wine, the pub will make money from the open mic night. And funnily enough, the two pubs that I play in say, when's the next one? They ask me, they get the diary open and say, when's the next one going to be? Now, at the same time, I don't take it for granted that we'll get an open mic night, because all you need is 2 or 3 nights in a row that aren't well attended. And then the pub will go, don't know if we can carry on with this because we've just not making enough money. And pubs are businesses. When you go into a pub and wanting a gig, no, we don't do. It's just business. It's money. If you can't afford to put bands on, that's the end of it. Now, what happens at our open mic nights is, and this is, I'm learning on the job here with open mic nights. When I first started doing it, I thought, right, okay, you have to provide everything, all the equipment. Actually, one of the pubs supplies the PA speakers and the amp, which is very good, actually. It means I don't have to struggle through the pub with my own. But everything else is provided. That is spare guitar amp, DI box, so someone can plug their acoustic guitar in, a couple of mics, there's always a keyboard there. So I do take a lot of stuff with me. But if you have a situation on an open mic where somebody can't play because there's a problem with an amp, or something doesn't work, or there's not enough leads, or not enough, that, in my view, it just ruins the whole experience for other people. And when you do it right, it means you get more people to come and play the following month. And every open mic night that I do, I see somebody new there. That's good. That's really good. Somebody has told somebody else, there's a great open mic. It's got all the stuff there. There's a house band. Now, the band that I play with, well, there's 2 bands. The bass player is the same on both nights. Now, he played with Paul Weller. He played with the whole sort of early 90s acid jazz scene in London. He was there playing with the James Taylor Quartet, and he was there with the whole sort of Galliano crew in the early 90s with that acid jazz scene. So he's been round the block. Most certainly been round the block. And he's a fantastic bass player. But he makes time for the open mic night. Now, there's a lot to be said with that. He and the drummers, the 2 drummers that I do the 2 nights with, none of them have an ego, not even a tenth of an ego between them. And that's really important. If you get people on an open mic night who are just there as this all bluster and, showing off and whatnot, it's not going to work. You will end up with this horrible competition where people go, it's just tense, it's horrible, I don't like it. Now, the drummers, both of them, well, one of them does tours with all sorts of people, David Essex and the Osmonds and people like that, people who are just on that gigging and touring scene, and suddenly he'll be off on a tour. But once again, he always makes time for the open mic night. Now, drummers musicians generally at open mic nights. We get occasionally people that turn up and just want to play something, but they haven't brought the guitar with them. Now, I understand perfectly that a musician may not want to lend their stuff out. But I hand my Telecaster over to somebody saying, yeah, try breaking that. Because you won't break it. You won't break a Telecaster. It's not really humanly possible. You can play cricket with it and it'll still be in tune. But I do understand that. So people that turn up at open mic nights really should bring their own instrument. Partly also because it's something that they're used to and they can plug in and feel comfortable rather than playing a guitar that they've not picked up before. Drummers, it's a tricky one with that, because usually we say to drummers that bring snare and cymbals. But as the open mic nights become more busy, there simply isn't time to change cymbals over or snare drum over. So we have just a rule, just say, look, bring a pair of sticks, go and see the drummer before the night begins. Because obviously drums, you can't very easily set up your own drum kit in an open mic night. So we just say, go and see the drummer, have a chat with them and say about the tune you want to play. That meeting, that initial meeting between the two drummers, between the pro drummer and the person who's come to play at the open mic night, makes a massive difference, because there's that instant connection and instant respect that's given. We get kids of, well, in fact, I have a 10-year-old pupil at one of the schools who's going to come and play when the Saints go marching in next week. And she's really nervous, but really, really keen to do it. And I know that there will be that platform 9 3/4 moment for her. And that's why I do it. That's why I do these nights. It's for other people, so that they can have fun and experience what it's like to be a musician. And like me, hoping that it will never, ever end.